Trasacco Estates, home to Accra's most beautiful and luxurious homes, presents its newest addition, Trasacco Springs, a premium master planned community of service plots surrounded by an exhaustive list of amenities. The gated community of Tema to Accra Motorway presents you the finest opportunity to own a land that suits your preferred size, budget, and payment terms. Trasacco Springs is open to you for development. Our on-site sales executives are ready. Call on 055 659 2658.
Hello? Okay, why? Hey, my wife comes and send a message you. Hello? What's happened?
It's a chance who be up when say what? I did say,
besides, friend of friend, I'm so used to. You are not testing messages here. And our officer, so I'm trying to tell you, man. She says, I
mean, so we a guy, Manu, and may young who could look cry. And also wants a family drilling company limited for Kana.
What's it then? Family Dwelling Company Limited.
Ye two borehole, biofuel, biogas, swimming pool, plumbing works in Nassau, ye be Frey 0240 333 111 and Nasa 0244 144 822.
Miampa and you want swimming pool, me see. Me want to, me will be here. Family dwelling, I want family dwelling.
What fashion is your last set?
Me out with that.
African Center for Capacity Building, AFCAB, organizes the following executive and advanced certificate programs like Executive Certificate in Project Management, Executive Certificate in Human Resource Management, Executive Certificate in Real Estate and Property Management, Executive Certificate in Data and Records Keeping, Executive Certificate in Monitoring and Evaluation, Executive Certificate in Logistics and Transport Management, Executive Certificate in CCTV Monitoring and Installation. AFCAB, where capacity building is our priority. For registration and enquiries, please call 0244 405047, 0242135523. We have our branches in Accra, Tamale, Kumasi, and Wa. Saturdays and weekdays sessions are available. Admission is still in progress. Enroll now. Join the African professionals. AFCAB, where capacity building is our priority.
Hello, information.
Madam,
Me, I have still not got the money for that list of expensive building materials you sent to me. The price of the iron rods have been increased too much, added.
Madam, relax. Look, that's not why I didn't call. I just visited IPCP, where the engineers told me everything about Trasacco fast floor.
Trawanko, please, those people are expensive. Are they not the people building those big houses in town? I beg going to cash in a guy.
Madam, in fact, I used to think the same until I visited their office today. And they gave me an estimate of how much it will cost. No more, the estimate is free. It's cheaper than the one I even sent you.
Wow.
Building contractors, foremen, masons. Visit IPCP, the Trasacco Fast Floor. Engineers will assist you build an affordable, faster, and stronger building.
Oh, madam. It is done.
Wow.
Trasacco Fast Floor. Stronger, faster, and affordable.
This is a Trasacco construction product.
And we're coming to you live from our studios here, 48 Swanika Street, Berlin, Accra, Ghana. This is Pan-African Television News. My name, Ivy Abnadi Nakita. We are live across 46 African countries and some parts of Europe. We're live on Facebook at the moment at Pan-African Television. Top of the headlines. Kojo upon Nkrumah blames critics for misinterpretation of e-levy bill. We have details following shortly. Also coming up, Upper West Regional Caucus of Parliament condemns withdrawal of Speaker's military guard. Still to come in this afternoon's bulletin, traders at Circle clash with Operation Clean Your Frontage task force over evacuation. Do stay for the details of these stories and many more. Don't go anywhere. For staying, the news in detail. The Minister of Information, Kojo Nkrumah, has laid blames at the doorsteps of e-levy critics for the misinterpretation of the revenue mobilization bill. According to him, critics of the e-levy bill are adulterating the main purpose of the potential economic policy.
Dia obisa asemo etwato se ukonkura na se a nkomodie ni ndu akire ntinti ase no enko akire na wo susu se e-levy na na beboa ma ekurasi school ni ekurasi kwan anye yie no ayeye na bia nkomo no enu akire nti omo nti ase ti ono no se ebi edikan wontua edikan minua na ote ekurasi na sika o sende enru ana emro 100 cedis daba ko bia no ono krampo no ontua bi deda aban dika yi na fi nti ono krampo no eni so ha ne ho bebre se ebeka no isan se ono ontua bi etoso mienu de enti ama enkomodie no ubedu baabi na aye nipa so mu kesene na dwene mu hina no ene se enkomo aye die wo se ade nukuradie ene periperi edi no ye mu binom ye de niema enka ho afuntum afra enti nkomo no mu ankasa nhye dan na ho enu nti na na ya ba ha ye town hall meeting so we be catch us say aban person oji e-levy and now president Akufo-Addo person oji e-levy no the court presidential jet enye no kore enkan komodie no ho obi de no be fra no the politics abefra nti nkomo na nkasa no ayira sebe memekura se kwan ana memekura se school a ye pese ye gigi sika kakra na ye de ye no no obi the politics abefra na say nti nkomodie na nkasa nto asom ti ebe stress MPPO, NDCO, PNCO, CPPO ye nyina Ghana ni ye ye na ehwe ti ema no kuredie nnadi won komodie ni mu eno na bema no kura pa obi etwe aban adwen agina so no yate ne ye aye adwuma ne ye de nsem anya no kura frafrade a ye hu kura nkrampo na ye de aye adwuma ntiremu a wo se enkoso ne bi na na ekoso radio stations ahodo ewo western region ha say air fire TV ni ade fire live asa ntiremu no ekire mbako penin ba bisa ne say so say me wa mi bitae say na aban to me the expenditure so instead of obepese obeprisika bi aka ho ana mema finance minister be ya no e kosan nkofo bebre bi say to asum e o se yi ano to asem obisa ne say na me je 1000 na me tua me to wo ho na me transfer mo obi na e say tua no transfer mo obi no say tua enye to aso ana brofo mu repeated taxation and aye ya na ye beyi eno so ano ansa na menuan ne kosan me no obi say o say slide 1C ne 1B no ase onte ase ye and na opeso ohun se miami wo MTN ana miami chips mienu na me transfer a eka no ana ye be ni na no men kan sem keto bi ansa na minister aba budget ya 2020 budget ya edi adwuma o kaskani na abomu a broni sika 145 billion 145 billion enumpo no mpanimfo esese a na chese adwuma aban beye wo Ghana ha nyinara teacher for soldier for police for community center ha say mo market mo kwan ade nyina na eka boma 145 billion mpanimfo sese a sa sika no ponke nya enke be spendi bi aka ho esensa say 145 no kra no enso adwuma ye pese ye enye finance minister pese obi pe adwuma no say ontumi man financial clearance but the on penny say obeka say yemfa ni pako ne sika ni ho a editua ne ka enti o say to ye bonu enya say sika no ni ma financial clearance enye finance minister penny say contractor bi akoje bisia wo ba bi afi kwan bi ase na wa ye yi ni certificate na onye sika ntua na contractor na parking ne niamako enye ne fe na mom di ama na ko basa ne say sika award ye adwuma nyina ye 145 no kra no e-levy 7 billion ka hun edu 145 no nti o ka say yente aban expenditure no so a ye misa ye say ne hin no na ye ka say yente so school dan na ye special yesi no ene yente so ana Cape Coast market Takrady market adwuma na ye ne yente so ana nkwala e pa adwuma wa ban mu no na yente so ana na kofo no kro si sika mba ye na ye si ye nhwehwe sika ntua no eno ne yente so ana obisi ministers eno kre omampani akufo ado na ban first one ministers baby ana ejino second edusi wate so obi obeka so ohun se wate so na nya no kre enti question wo se ebisa e no se aban emom on pesika ne bi nka ho fanya adwuma na aka wa kire na se onti na adwuma no so eno ne question ne baako ansana kakra wo sa repeated tax yi ho ne se ni papa mu pa no se memeji market ya mitua so to obi oti me nchen wo fie ye adwuma no se mitua na ka e wo se etua to wo so no so po ofo obi se onye adwuma ma no na otua ni pakro ne ka e wo so no so tua to wo so no kura pa wo ni se yemu bebre sa eto ne anketenkete ni na no ye ntua enti se koba ne se yenya abefo kwan e no de obi antumi nyine hu mfim ye beji ana akoye se ye twetwe ye na ase kakra obi se tax bi nya fair se sa na ye beka na nke beka se tax bi ani wo ye fair na de me na maye madwuma e na bosumi aso na ye tua meka ada na wo se atiska ne bi koma aban me na me koto me petrol agu me car mu me ameka me koto petrol agu ada na wo se aban de to kakra to so na aban agi se o de kwa akoye kwan ho adwuma me na me koto ade wo store ada na bind value added tax ato so a OGB nke beka se ni na enye fair saa so na tie se me na me transfer me sika na bind say dia medema MTN onfen ko ni krom Vodafone say onfen ko ni krom no aban say yema na kakra no onfen ye kwan ya wa hai ye betumi ehunu say da bi enye fair ntie mpese etua na ya tena ba bi etena ye betumi so ehunu say ye nyina ye keka ensa ase na ya pe kakra de ayedwuma kakra me kan san ma invite finance minister manaba be ya no ye wi ane aba for final batch of questions. Honorable minister pacho obeka ensa na waboa ye my questions no.
The Upper West Regional Caucus of Parliament has condemned the withdrawal of military personnel from the security detail of the Speaker of Parliament. Addressing the press, Member of Parliament for West Central Constituency Rashid Pelpo stated that withdrawal does not bode well for democracy, hence should be condemned.
At this hour, to add our voice to those of the many Ghanaians, including the minority side of Parliament, about the security issues raised on the Speaker. Essentially, for every public figure, security is crucial and must be taken seriously. An important issue which comes to play here is that the security provided for a public figure in or the three arms of government is not compromised either by subjecting the security arrangements to full public knowledge and to reduce the adequacy of the security package to the disadvantage of the officer concerned. In the case of the Speaker of Parliament, the present Speaker, Honorable Alban Sumana Bagbi, all the security headlines mentioned here are breached. This inspires this deep concern about the apparent inaction by governments to address the issue despite so many worries expressed variously by the public on the withdrawal of the military security from the official security setup of the Speaker. Our focus here is that, like any other leaders of the three arms of government, it is our belief that the security of the Speaker is of paramount concern to the people of Ghana and requires the government to rise to the responsibility of adequately addressing the present lapse, in which a military team, which was part of the military security details of the Speaker, was withdrawn. And despite all the complaints, government has said nothing about it. The lack of sufficient response by the government to the present situation is generating worry and compelling this briefing. We seek, therefore, to urge the government to give adequate response to the worrying situation by the myriads of the public to satisfy the complete security need of the Speaker, if even it will require the reinstatement of the military team that had been withdrawn unilaterally by government. It is our expectation that matters of security must be handled expeditiously with adequate consultation and discussions away from public concerns.
Meanwhile, Member of Parliament for Tamale Central, Ibrahim Mutala Mohammed, has waded into the Akufo-Addo-led administration for championing what he describes as a corrupt government, one that has plunged the nation into economic distress. He was speaking to Pan-African Television's Gregory Amwa.
Frontier Health. That Frontier Health it operated as a fraudulent company. Mind you, this company never had any prior experience or knowledge in that area. They registered the company a month before they started the illegal operation. And according to the Minister for Health, when he appeared before the appointment committee during the vetting, and they asked him about it, he said they initially operated without a license and that he didn't know about their operation. And that company is owned by the wife to the secretary to the president, Asante Bidiotu's wife, the woman, the sandbox woman, and also the husband to one of the daughters of the president. They own Frontier Health. Millions of dollars are generated from this Frontier Health, and they feel that that money must not remain in this country. They open an offshore accounts, the monies are generated, and are kept there. They got another Nigerian bank, for these are Nigerians, and they got another Nigerian bank that is taking those charges for them. This Nigerian bank engage degree holders of this country and pay them 837 Ghana cedis a month. I mean, clearly, without crying, they are making a lot of money. Look, go to the executive lounge at the Flagstaff, the Terminal 3. The executive lounge is operated by Nana Asante Bidiotu and the wife again. Our security installation, you have Nigerians who are working at our Terminal 3. I'm not against any Nigerian who is working legitimately in Ghana. But Nigeria will not accept any foreigner to work at a security installation such as the airport. And this is what is happening. I mean, did we go or did we come? That company is operating. They have gotten Noguchi. Workers of Noguchi are those who are working there. The charges they put on every foreigner through the COVID testing, $150. Do you know how much they give government of Ghana? $2 out of the $150. Yet the same government tells us that yeah, we have to introduce e-levy because of COVID. That same COVID you have used to make millions of dollars through your family ties, your in-laws, and the monies are not remaining in Ghana. The monies are sent off, they are put into an offshore account. Yet we are all crying. I mean, clearly, look at McDonald, what the gentleman did, operating an illegality at the airport against the directive of the airport company. I mean, this is the only businessman who said on national TV and says he's an MPP activist, and he said this on Good Evening Ghana. Such a person operating when the oil airport company says it's illegal to do that. It will be a recipe for all manner of criminal activities and criminal gangs that you operate such, and that is the basis on which the airport company says this. So I'm saying that all those things, I mean, it begs the question when people think that we are practicing a democracy, you know, ruled by a leader who believes in the fundamental human rights of people. I mean, this president is a tyrant. That the conditions of the people of this country is in a state of a quagmire. Everybody is struggling. The only people who are not struggling in this country are those who live within the four walls of the Flagstaff House, or are those who have direct family ties with the president and his family, because this is the most nepotistic government ever in the history of this country. So if you have Oforiatta attached to your name, you may not feel the brunt of the economic conditions we have been subjected to collectively by the inept and the incompetence of President Nana Addo. So I won't sit here and give you figures, macroeconomic or microeconomic figures. That is not what I'll talk about. I'll just talk about real economics, and real economics is how you and I feel. How much were we spending in buying fuel, a gallon of petrol or a diesel? How much are we spending now? How much was the transportation cost or fare from Accra to Tamale? How much is it now? How much were you paying for trotro from Adenta to Accra? How much are you paying now? How much were you paying for a sachet of water in 2016? How much is it now? A sachet of water today is 30 pesos. It simply doesn't make sense.
He further opined that the electronic transfers levy being introduced to Parliament will be rejected by the minority caucus, since it will not inure to the benefit of the already impoverished Ghanaians.
I can tell you, no MP is going to be excluded. All the 137 are going to be in Parliament, and we will vote against e-levy any day. No amount of the perfume in Arabia can be used to bath e-levy that will be accepted. We will reject it any day, any time. We will reject e-levy in any form. It simply doesn't make sense. We will not accept any levy that exerts more pressure on the poor than the rich. We will not accept any levy that would be impacted negatively on the poor than the rich. We will not accept any e-levy that would have tremendous consequences on the living conditions of the people of this country. We will not accept any e-levy that comes without us knowing what they have done with the other monies collected.
Away from that, Member of Parliament for North Tongue constituency and member on the Foreign Affairs Committee of Parliament, Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, has said the recent spate of coup d'etats in the West African sub-region poses a threat to stability in the area. Now, he is therefore calling on governments in the sub-region and ECOWAS to champion the fostering of democracy and economic development.
Delivering a statement on the floor of Parliament on the recent spate of coup d'etats that have swept across the continent, with 4 occurring in 2021, Member of Parliament for the North Tongue constituency and ranking member of the Foreign Affairs Committee of Parliament, Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, condemned the undemocratic assumption of political power trend and called for the consolidation of democracy and economic development in the sub-region.
The erosion of Africa's democratic gains has been far-reaching. The African Center for Strategic Studies has observed that since 2015, leaders of 13 African countries have, quote, evaded or overseen the further weakening of term limit restrictions that have been in place, unquote. In addition, many elections on the continent have not been free, fair, and credible. Frequent elections have also not guaranteed genuine respect for democratic tenets. Mr. Speaker, a careful study of the Ibrahim Index of African Governance, published by the Mo Ibrahim Foundation, reveals how poorly many African countries, especially those affected by coups, are faring in the following indicators: security and rule of law, participation, rights and inclusion, foundations for economic opportunity, and human development indices. Speaker, as a consummate Democrat, I am convinced coups are not a panacea to Africa's hydra-headed and intractable socioeconomic challenges. That said, we must all concede that the promised democratic dividend has remained largely elusive on the African continent. The only real solution to the coup epidemic, as the UN Secretary General calls it, cannot be AU and ECOWAS sanctions. African leaders need an urgent, bold, and robust Marshall Plan to address regional insecurity, acute unemployment, lack of opportunities for the youth, marginalization, corruption, nepotism, proliferation of arms, insurgencies, dictatorships, economic mismanagement, foreign exploitation, and clueless leadership.
Also, Member of Parliament for Abuakwa South, Samuel Atachia, added that in spite of any political turbulence that may plague a nation, coup d'etats must never be an option should an alternative be sought.
Honourable Speaker, I do not share the view that when a government which is duly elected by the people is underperforming, the solution is to have an overthrow of that government by the armed forces. I don't share that view at all. I share the view, with the greatest of respect, that the underperformance of a government, even in the areas of corruption and what we want to talk about, nepotism, and all the institutions are filled by friends and the rest of it, should not be a necessary reason for coup d'etat. We know that everything begins and ends at the ballot box. That's the history of the so-called civilized countries that we're looking up to. There have been very, very serious challenges in America. Even the Watergate scandal during President Nixon's time and the rest of it. But the armed forces of America, they know overthrow the Constitution of the United States of America and for that matter, booted out the government of the day. I wish to submit, with the greatest of respect, that I believe it is the sanity of permitting democratic governments to perform, for better or for worse, for a long stretch of time that has accounted for the kind of economic development that we've seen with, for instance, America and the United Kingdom. But where the constitutional journey is punctuated by coup d'etats, Honourable Speaker, you can see that somebody believes he's a savior. And you see the masses sometimes very excited that a government has been booted out. Because to the ordinary person, every problem that is going through is attributed to the government. And the euphoria of welcoming lawless men as heads of states and the rest of them, eventually, when you do a cost-benefit analysis and do serious economic analysis, as half the time, it is more of trouble than development.
Former President John Dramani Mahama has recounted fond memories of former President John Evans Atta Mills and the mechanism by which he tackled certain issues during his tenure. Speaking at the launch of the John Evans Atta Mills Memorial Heritage, Mr. Mahama urged Ghanaians to emulate the statesman's patriotic traits for a better Ghana.
Was also very witty. He could provide on the spur of the moment intelligent answers that could make you smile or laugh. as the chairman recalled, and I hope you all recall, the issue of many ways of killing a cat. A judgment in the courts had gone against government, and our chairman at the time, Kwabena J, was ranting against the judiciary, and the issue about many ways of killing a cat came up. Press conference about it, and his savvy and witty response was, "Look at me, come closer. Do I look like a cat hunter?" He believed in the genuine and true independence of the judiciary and was ready and willing to protect the judiciary and the justice delivery system at all costs. I'm sure you also recollect the Zibufiasem during the Ivorian crisis. This was also pregnant with humor. But most importantly, it's a statement that requires interdisciplinary research into the origins and nuanced meaning of the rich Fanti proverb, Zibufiasem. Prof detested comrades undermining each other. He had a practice of detaining the person who had come to make a negative report about a colleague to him. He detained you in his office. He quickly had the colleague about whom the report had been made brought to his office quickly. He then asked the one who had made the report to repeat what he had just told him. And in Ghanaian parlance, we say, "Come and see stammering." Nana Chairman, my brothers and sisters, these and many more recollections of this inspirational son of the land are the reasons Prof was and still loved by so many. For those familiar with the anthem of this great university where President Atamil studied and worked, you realize the earlier part of my speech drew on our motto, Integri Procedamus, to wit, proceeding in integrity. Integrity sounded loudly and was defined by Prof in all he did. As I conclude, I call on each one of us Ghanaians to uphold truth and integrity and the peaceful nature of Prof. Let us stay united, even in the face of adversity. Let us uphold tolerance. Yes, we must endeavor to proceed in unity and in truth. We must also strive to defend the cause of freedom, and we must fervently uphold the public cause to protect our democracy. This is why Legon, the hallowed ground upon which we stand today, always calls on her products and all Ghanaians to arise and arise and arise to defend the cause of freedom and proceed in truth and integrity to make our nation proud. Refreshingly, these attributes of the University of Ghana intersect harmoniously with President Mills's personal values. His quest for peace, for which he was named Asunjehene, his quest for excellence and integrity, transparency and accountability, commitment to the well-being of all Ghanaians, and inclusivity. I'm glad the heritage seeks to build on from where he left off in a non-partisan manner. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my privilege and honor to be joined to do the unveiling of the logo by Sami Atta-Mills and the chairman of the board of the Atta-Mills Memorial Heritage. I thank you very much. God bless us all. Ladies and gentlemen, the Atta-Mills Memorial Heritage is duly launched. Thank you very much.
Now, still on our local front, some first-year students of the University of Ghana, Legon, have expressed their concerns over the ongoing strike by the University Teachers Association of Ghana, UTAG. Now, according to them, they feel disappointed about the situation and are pleading with government to put measures in place to enable them begin their academic work.
The UTAG strike, which began on the 10th of January, is still ongoing. It's been 21 days of no academic activity on the various university campuses, and this means that public universities across the country are likely to be closed down if the strike action continues. But what is the impact on the students? We are yet to find out, and we are here at the University of Ghana, and we'll be speaking to some students to find out from them how this is really affecting them.
Yes, the situation has been bad. I'm actually a fresher, and we came to school like 3 weeks ago. But immediately we came, we just heard that the lecturers decided to go on strike, and it's been bad. It's been disturbing. We just hope that the government does something about it, because we've just been on campus. There's nothing to do, no activities, and we are just in our rooms. So we are just pleading to the government to just come to our aid and do something about it.
The strike has really caused a lot of problems because, for instance, like I'm not from Accra, I come from the Savannah region, and I know I have a lot of other people who are not also from this region. Considering that some people have to go back home, and some people too are still waiting because the government and UTAG are still saying they might shut the school down or they might come back to school. So others have gone home already, and others are also still waiting for whether the school will go on or have to go home. It's really a big thing. Like we've waited for so long, and now that we are here, like we're excited to begin a whole new life experience, and then the strike has really come to be like it's now a hindrance. We don't know what's going on, and we are just hoping for the best. And well, yeah, like everybody, we don't know what's happening now. So like definitely you will also have to go home if like nothing good is coming up. Yeah, everybody's worried. Yeah, we feed on ourselves, so we feed by ourselves, and yeah, that's it.
I think it's really affecting us as students, and also we are running out of time actually, and classes has to begin and all, but it looks like the teachers are delayed, and it's due to the refusal of the government to pay them and stuff. So I think the government should put measures in place to meet the needs of the teachers, so that in no time they can come back and lectures resume or continue.
So as you can see, the ongoing strike action is currently affecting students greatly, and they are calling on the government to do something about the situation as soon as possible. Reporting for Pan-African News, Ikea Abebu.
We take you to the world of business after the short break.
St. Carol School of Nursing, in partnership with Impoatsi Traditional Council, calls on the general public to participate in our free health screening on the following: blood pressure monitoring, blood glucose monitoring, body mass index, malaria testing, HIV screening, and breast examination. It is happening on the 14th of February 2022, time 9 o'clock a.m. at the premises of Impoatsi Traditional Council, Dansuman, Accra, supported by Pan-African Television. Come and get screened for free.
Thank you for saying this is Pan-African Television News. Now let's do business. The Western Regional Minister Kwabena Ochirida Kumensa has said no poor person will be affected by the Electronic Transactions Levy bill. Now he explained that this is as a result of the 100 Ghana cedis exemption. According to him, a person said to be poor in the country is someone who raises only 70 Ghana cedis within a year.
Waba up in the day. And they live in the Yaja, Ghana for one better one. Ghana for one better one. Ghana for better one. Mammy minimum in the day. Demi Ilevi, a yafu won't chibi. A yeni biara niwa obichibi. And this is the analysis I make. Ghana, so what could be a uya puso. You'll be in the whole year. Sikabed Nisema or 70 Ghana cities. Ilevi say a betray. Say 300 Ghana cedis a transfer na the Mexicano in 11 Bordeaux. In the end, they teach you 2,400, and Obi army 1,800, and our policeman 1,600. They me pay now ban Utriamono say every day be in 100 Ghana cedis na transfer. They me levy in Chibi because 100 Ghana for 30 days or 3,000. Into them levy o here for Chibi. Obilu to make a chem de onyade papa. To whom much is given, much is expected.
Still in the world of business, traders at the Kwame Nkrumah Circle Interchange in Accra have vehemently protested against the Operation Clean Your Frontage exercise as they clash with the task force. Now, the traders resisted moves by the Greater Accra Regional Minister Henry Korte, security personnel and the Operation Clean Your Frontage task force to demolish view structures said to be sited at unauthorized locations in the area.
The retailers pelted stones at the bulldozer being used for the exercise, breaking its windscreen amidst gunshots. The exercise was immediately aborted while the task force moved to Kaneshie. Kwame Nkrumah Circle, one of the major commercial business hubs in the capital, is dominated by informal sector workers involved in buying and selling of different products, particularly electronics. The opposition to the exercise was expected as many traders in the area plied their trade on pavements, with sanitation in the area being poor. The regional minister anticipated the opposition when he stated last week that he will personally be present during the exercise to ensure that the recalcitrant traders are taking off the pavement. Some of the traders pleaded for the safety of their structures housing their wares, while others were vehemently facing it off with the task force in verbal argument.
Don't try! I'm gonna make you who you are! What the hell? Wait! Chinese man! Osifa Adran to so. Mabuti Sika, upon the tram, upon the China, you can't be VIP. Back in Banawa! Back in Banawa! What do you do? You go to the party!
It is, however, unclear how this exercise will be sustained, as this is not the first time traders have been cleared from pavements around the Kwame Nkrumah interchange. Traders who ply their business on the pavement usually return to the site a few days after such exercises are done.
Coming up is international news. On an international front, Israel attempts to improve its public image to counter efforts by human rights organizations that reveal the nature of Israeli apartheid. Now, on January 27, 2022, the Hebrew language news site Walla published part of a text from a telegram sent by Amir Weisbrod, who is part of the Israeli Foreign Ministry, to Israeli embassies around the world.
The telegram warned the Israeli diplomat that in the upcoming 49th regular session of the United Nations Human Rights Council, which is expected to begin on February 28, a report to be tabled regarding Israel's 2021 bombing of Gaza. This report will apparently use the word apartheid to refer to Israel's occupation of the Palestinians, according to the telegram. Westbrook relayed Tel Aviv's instructions regarding the report prepared by UNHRC appointed committee to the Israeli diplomat through this telegram. The main goal for Israel is to delegitimize the committee, its members and product, and to prevent or delay further decisions. After a 4-year investigation, on February 1, 2022, Amnesty International released a 280-page report with a sharp headline, Israel's Apartheid Against Palestinians. Amnesty concluded that Israel has perpetrated the international wrong of apartheid as a human rights violation and a violation of public international law wherever it imposes this system. It has assessed that almost all of Israel's civilian administration and military authorities, as well as governmental and quasi-governmental institutions, are involved in the enforcement of the system of apartheid against Palestinians across Israel and the occupied Palestinian territory, and against Palestinian refugees and their descendants outside the territory. Amnesty further said that this act amounts to the crime against humanity of apartheid under both the Apartheid Convention and the Rome Statute. Israel's Foreign Minister Yair Lapid retaliated by accusing Amnesty of quoting lies shared by terrorist organizations. As if on cue, Israel's government accused Amnesty of anti-Semitism. The Amnesty report will provide key material for the UNHRC investigation. One of the immediate issues that will be the focus of attention for the UNHRC session is Israel's Operation Guardian of the Walls against the Palestinians in Gaza in May 2021. According to a July 2021 report by Human Rights Watch, which looked at 3 Israeli strikes that were part of the operation that killed 62 Palestinians, there were no evident military targets in the vicinity. In its report, HRW used the term war crimes to describe attacks by Israeli forces and Palestinian armed groups. When the firing stopped after 11 days, the UNHRC passed a resolution in late May 2021 to establish an ongoing independent international commission of inquiry to investigate various crimes in the OPT, including East Jerusalem and in Israel. Nafi Pillay, the former UN High Commissioner for Human Rights and a former South African judge, was appointed to chair the 3-person commission, which also included Mulun Kotari, an Indian architect, and Chris Sidoti, an Australian human rights lawyer. The commission is expected to present its first report to the UNHRC in June. The commission chaired by Pillay is the 9th commission established by the UNHRC to investigate Israeli actions against the Palestinians. It has a very broad mandate that includes to study violations of international humanitarian law according to the 4 Geneva Conventions in 1949, which both Israel and Palestine are party to, and to continue to investigate these crimes into the future. It is widely expected that Pillay's report will use the word apartheid to define Israeli policy in the OPT. This will not be the first time that a United Nations report has used this term to define Israeli actions against the Palestinians. In 2017, the UN Economic and Social Commission for Western Asia released a report prepared by Richard Falk, a former United Nations Special Rapporteur on the situation of human rights in the Palestinian territories occupied since 1967, and Virginia Tilley, a researcher and professor of political science at Southern Illinois University. The report defined Israeli policy against Palestinians as apartheid, as understood under international law. In its 2014 report, FARC had already used the term apartheid. The release of that 2017 report led to the resignation of ESCWA head Rima Khalaf, a distinguished Jordanian diplomat, after she faced pressure from the United Nations Secretary General to withdraw the report. In 2006, the Israeli government set up a Ministry of Strategic Affairs to essentially run two campaigns, one against Iran and the other against the boycott, divestment and sanctions movement. The Hasbara, explaining almost physically propaganda, ministry operated an information war that sought to delegitimize DBS activists and to paint anyone who supported the movement as an anti-Semite. Largely due to criticisms of its heavy-handedness, the Ministry of Strategic Affairs was shut down in July 2021 and some of its functions were shifted to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
Goes to our international partners, the People's Dispatch, for our international story. Now let's move straight to sports. Senegal are through to their third Africa Cup of Nations final, with Sadio Mane on target to help them overcome Burkina Faso. Now the Senegalese side defeated Burkina Faso by 3-1.
In an eventful game, VAR chalked off two Senegal penalties with Burkina Faso goalkeeper Heath Koufai injured during the event of the first as he was hit hard in an aerial collision with Koyate and forced off the pitch on a stretcher. Farid Ouedraogo replaced him in the 35th minute. Abdou Diallo and Idrissa Gueye put Senegal in charge before Blati Touré narrowed the deficit late on. But Mane chipped in to settle victory for the tournament favourite. It was his 29th goal for his country, taking him level with Henry Camara at the top of their all-time scorer list. The second semi-final sees Cameroon face Egypt on Thursday night, with the winners advancing to face Senegal in the final at the Olympic Stadium Yaoundé on Sunday, 6th February. Burkina Faso will take part in the 3rd to 4th place playoff, which has been brought forward a day to Saturday.
Entertainment is next. Dance is an intrinsic part of African culture which is held in high esteem by various tribes on the continent. They also portray meanings when performed by groups and individuals. Today, on our showbiz segment, we will shift our attention to the Ndlamu dance.
Ndlamu, also known as the war dance, is a very high-spirited and energetic tribal act belonging to the Zulu tribe in South Africa. It is often performed at festivals and marriage ceremonies on drum-based music, and the performers generally wear traditional Zulu costumes. The costume worn by the performers, mainly male but not necessarily, is a very unique outfit which makes the Zulu people look strikingly impressive. The Ndlamu dance costume includes animal skin, also called ambeshu, head rings, ceremonial belts, ankle rattles and weapons such as shields, spears and knob carries. The Ndlamu dance costume is unique in itself as they represent the culture of the Zulu people. In terms of techniques, Ndlamu dance involves a performer, male, lifting up one foot over his head and then landing that leg firmly on the ground and at times falling backwards. Ndlamu dance is usually performed in groups and at times a group member comes center stage to perform his or her dance routine. As for training center and schools, there are none available around the world since this war dance is mainly performed exclusively among the Zulu community in South Africa.
Well, that was the Ndlamu dance, also known as a war dance, a highly spiritual and energetic dance right there. That's it for this afternoon's Pan-African Television News. Before we go, a recap of our headlines. Kojo Oponing Nkrumah blames critics for misinterpretation of e-levy bill. We brought you details of that. Now, Upper West Regional Caucus of Parliament condemns withdrawal of Speaker's military guard. Also, traders at Circle clash with Operation Clean Your Frontage Task Force over evacuation. We brought you details of these stories and many more live from our studios here, 48 Swanika Street, Avelimpe, Accra, Ghana. My name is Ivy Abnadide Nakite. Do enjoy the rest of our programs.